Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PVSM channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. The three generals are back, except that General Rajiv Narayanan could not make it today. But we have some good news. We are going to move this thing to Thursdays at 8 p.m. So coming Thursday, you will have the three generals back at 8 p.m. because we found that to be a little bit more convenient time-wise. We would still have a few surprises because the generals are very busy and they might be traveling. But I just wanted to give you that update. Let's now welcome General Dushyant Singh and General Ravi Shankar. Generals, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. Sir, how are you?
Oh, thanks a
Good.
lot. And yeah, we are good.
Sir, both you and I have gone to Cambodia and General Dushyant has been to Thailand. So this may look like, it's got beyond the fact that the region in contention has some Hindu temples of the 8th to 11th century. India doesn't really have a role to play here, or so it looks like. Although the reading between the lines is what I think you bring to the table. I'll start with you, General Ravi Shankar. What does it mean for us, sir, as us being India?
Look, let me put it this way. Let's understand the setting of this whole story. What's happening? Cambodia and Thailand. They're part of Indochina. Why I say Indochina very specifically? That term has gone out of the window. And this part of the French colonial area. Uh, why Indochina? This entire peninsula, which consists of Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, four countries basically, is between India and China. And that's why the term Indochina has come into being. Then they are culturally, most of them are quite common between the Cambodian people and the Thais.
Right.
They're all Khmers, right? Largely. And even you find Khmers in Laos. They're not exactly Laotian people, but Khmers there. Because the Viets are different. Okay. And you find that the linkage between these two is very strangely, the Hindu artifacts or the Hindu, heritage monuments. And after all, this is the place where Angkor Wat, which is the core of that ancient Hindu civilization or the kingdom, is the biggest Hindu temple in the world. And Priya Vihar, where this whole story is happening, is at the edge of, is part of that spread of that kingdom as you to the local folklore. In fact, there is a place in Angkor Wat. If you climb up in the evening, Priya Vihar comes into sight. Right, you from there, and that Priya Vihar stands on the border. And Priya Vihar is a Shaivite temple. Priya Vihar, interestingly, doesn't have Buddhist overtones, whereas Angkor Wat has. I'm giving you the cultural background only to put certain things in context. Why? I mean, these are all dead temples. When I say dead temples, there's no deity there, there's no prayers, most of them in ruins. The Taprom temple is something which India is renovating because some of these temples which are in ruins are being renovated by Japanese, India, Yewo, like Indo-Cambodian friendship. We are renovating the temple and they look to us for many things because we give them the cultural context and the religious context to the whole place. And we give them a lot of advice on that. Uh, but having said that, why are they interested in these temples? And there are other temples also along that border. And the border, the Cambodia-Thailand border is signified by a mountain range called the Dangrek Mountains. Right. And it's a watershed. The watershed is very clear. The watershed of the Dangrek gives you the clear watershed. But the French people gave all the monuments to Cambodia. But for some strange reason, both these countries never had a fight till they became UNESCO heritage states. The moment they became UNESCO heritage sites, the border disputes have started, and basically it's for money and the tourist attraction and things like that. And that's where it is. This is not the first time they fought. They fought in 2008 also. Now it has erupted again. This whole story started in the Emerald Triangle. Emerald Triangle is the tri-junction between Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. right? And that's where this Priya Vihar is. It started with one Cambodian soldier dying, and then it has spread. It's at about 6 points AWO. And where we see, for 2-3 days the firing went on. Cambodia fired F-16s, and not Cambodia, Thailand fired F-16s. Cambodia retaliated with rocket firing and all that. And there's some news that one F-16 has been shot down. One doesn't know the real thing. But something is happening. And then Trump sub today tweeted out, oh, we've spoken to both and there's going to be peace and all that. But despite that peace, there's some firing going on. That's as far as so USA has jumped into the whole game. Simultaneously, you find China has also jumped into the game. They've got interest in Cambodia, heavy interest in Cambodia. Cambodia is virtually a vassal state of China. And Thailand is a complete ally of USA, military ally of USA. It's not an alliance, but it is some kind there. But interestingly, yeah, it's an alliance, so you say so, I go with it. And interestingly, Thailand buys a lot of military equipment from China. That's also there. And its biggest trading partner is China. So China has foot in both the countries, USA here. But USA has something very funny in Cambodia, which many people don't understand. The currency in Cambodia, the trading currency is dollars.
Yeah.
It's not even yuan. You go to a restaurant, you will see the rate list in dollars, not in Cambodian real or whatever that thing is. Ringgit, I'm forgetting its thing. Okay. It's not in the Cambodian currency, it is in dollars. It's not in yuan. And considering that Cambodia is, a bum chum of China, it's very surprising that they themselves don't trust the yuan. They go more for the dollar. So this is a strange kind of a thing. The fight has come. China is trying to mediate. USA is trying to also, Trump has jumped in. So will this turn into CCP versus USA kind of a tussle? That's the question. If you asked me yesterday, I would have said no. But today I will say no. I think both are shooting arrows at each other. Why? Because USA is widening this containment of China. We have to understand this in the larger context. What is the larger context? The larger context is the humanitarian corridor into Myanmar is just next to what's happening here. You can't ignore it. Then Philippines, Vietnam, all their whatever America is doing. But something very interesting has happened in the past 48 hours. What is that? That is, I'll go to Pakistan now. In Pakistan organized a meeting of the chiefs of defense staff of USA, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, and all the SCO states, all the Central Asian republics, Turkmenistan, and all these people came down. And something is going on. And then Pakistan conveniently pinned a medal on Kurilla's chest. Okay. So you see very clearly that USA is opening another front on Central Asia. At this point of time, it might not mean much. But believe you me, the reaction of Pakistan swinging towards USA is not great internally in China. China is worried. And with this, which is happening, the outreach to the Central Asian republics, military outreach to the Central Asian republics, right? And this event was presided over by the Field Marshal and Mr. Kurilla, right? So you see it in that larger sense, USA is opening up new fronts against China. Okay, this is apart from the trade war and all that. So I think that interesting times ahead. Definitely, I see this slowly turning into another theater where China and USA are going to lock horns. Well, we'll see how things are going. This is what I have to say at this point of time.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. General Dushyant, you have traveled to Thailand, and perhaps you can give us your 2 cents on what you think is happening.
First of all, I'll just like to add to to the overall context of what is happening at the strategic level. What if you take your mind back to, about 2 years back, China had brokered a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, right? And I think the trigger was that how come so pro US Saudi country, Saudi Arabia, gets out of the influence of United States of America. I think Iran started getting targeted after that in a very, very focused manner. And for Iran to be targeted, US realized that Pakistan is a very important. I always keep saying that Pakistan is located with a silver spoon in its mouth because of its geolocation, and for this we must thank the United Kingdom and that time the rising power United States of America, who basically crafted this beautiful country out of nowhere, where Pakistan has a connection with Afghanistan, it has a connection with Iran, it has connection with China, and through Afghanistan, it also has some connection with the Central Asian Republic. And after the breaking of USSR, most of the Islamic republics have actually come closer to the this part of the region. So I think what the US is doing now of getting Pakistan on board to contain China, Pakistan becomes a very, very important cog in the wheel, and that could also be one of the reasons why Munir was invited for such a special occasion lunch with the. I don't think it has happened in the past, unless a dictator has been the president. This was he as a chief only. He was not nothing more than a chief of army staff, irrespective of his rank. So therefore, the meeting which Jan Shankar mentioned about putting a medal on Kurila, who's supposed to be CENTCOM CNC. And let me tell you, Pakistani officers develop a very close relation with their United States Army officers right from the time they are youngsters. I have seen them growing. I have seen them as a major. I have seen them when I was a colonel. And I saw them very recently when one of those majors became ADG ISI analysis. They have been groomed in this manner to orchestrate everything militarily. They also say that the Pakistan as a nation cannot be governed by civilians. They don't have the capability. This is the grooming done to every Pakistani officer. So that is the Western flank. Now, if you keep coming, Jan Shankar has already mentioned about Bangladesh, humanitarian corridor, and now expanding the conflict towards Cambodia and Thailand. And also, do not forget Taiwan, Philippines, those are already brimming hot with the Chinese and the US standoff taking place through third countries. Some people also I don't know. I may be shooting an arrow in the dark. Some people may also be attributing this expansion of conflict zones, especially in the Indo-Pacific, if I were to say, because CENTCOM boundary finishes off at Pakistan for defense industry as well. Only reason why I don't agree to this is because as of now the US defense industry is totally out of capacity. It is not able to meet its own requirement. It is not able to meet the requirement of Ukraine war. So I don't think in the maybe unless it's a long-term proposition where Thailand already has F-16 aircrafts with them, they would like some more to be given to them. I don't know, and Philippines, etc. But Philippines, as you've seen, that they have gone to India. Now coming down to Thailand. Thailand is a military which is heavily uh, heavily structured around the US model. Their tactics, their procedures, their strategy, everything is based on the US model. Their special forces utilize the same kind of drills. So I had happened to have gone to Thailand to discuss the cooperation between special forces of India and Thailand, and we realized that we in fact saw one of their competitions of various special forces groups trying to compete with each other, and I realized that while they were good, But I think there were no match for this, let's say, the special forces of India or special forces of any other professional military uh, country. But they had the intent to do well. So I was interacting with them, and then I realized that they are seriously looking at possible conflicts along the Cambodian border. And this is, I'm talking of 2017, right? So what I'm trying to imply is that the Thailand as a country has been prepared for such a conflict. If they are being prepared on somebody's behest, I don't think so, because the historical context between Thailand, Cambodia is huge, in the sense same thing is being claimed by Cambodia as a Khmer's history, and Thailand as a as their culture, because of the Indian influence there. So the same temple gets claimed by both as part of a historical context. And as you know, the French or any colonial power at that point in time always kept something when they were drawing these lines, irrespective of the watershed which John Shankar has been talking about, drawing the line in such a manner that ultimately there would be conflicts for perpetuity. Is it one of those conflicts? That is only time will tell. Only thing is, why I highlighted the Thai experience was the capacity to take punishments. I do not think these two armies have that long-term capacities to take punishment of this kind, and we may see the war ending soon. That's my one observation on this. If it extends, it will be really a for me it will be a surprise. Jan Shankar wanted to interject here, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to add, look, you are giving a Thai perspective. Let me give a Cambodian perspective because I've interacted with the Cambodian army, and people
Yeah,
have to get the hang of it. You see, the Cambodian army is an army which is formed out of its civil war. It had a gory history, Pol Pot, and
absolutely.
after when Pol Pot killed n number of people, and the pity is that Pol Pot died a peaceful chap at the base of this Priya Vihar mountains only.
Yeah,
His grave is there. People go to his grave, incidentally. It's a tourist site. Oh, but the kind of torture, the kind of killing, everyone, and he put Mao to shame. Now you have a history where Vietnam invaded Cambodia, kicked out the Khmer Rouge at that point of time, went back under international pressure and all that, and then Cambodia descended into a civil war. It was in a civil war for a long time, and it started coming out of a civil war around 2004-5 or so. And then the rebel forces and the Cambodian army of that time joined hands together, and they were amalgamated into one. Thing is, this Cambodian army is not well equipped. It doesn't have the money. It doesn't, and they've not rebuilt the army the way they can. They don't have the money for it. But one thing the Cambodians have is the capability to fight, and they have the capability to fight a guerrilla war. Okay, so at some point of time, and Cambodia doesn't have an air force. It doesn't have anything. I mean, it doesn't. It's actually it's hardly an army. But what is hardly an army can be a handful guerrilla force
yeah,
because they've had decades of practice on guerrilla warfare.
absolutely.
Okay, and they're quite ruthless with each other. That's another thing. Ruthlessness is a common feature in this. Respect for life isn't much. So while one way of looking at this is that they might not have the wherewithal to go through a conventional war as we understand, but this conflict might shimmer. It might shimmer into cross-border raids, uh, you know, sub-conventional operations, guerrilla kind of activity, and this might not die. That's the first point. If it doesn't die out, definitely China and USA will come in. Now, what are the Chinese interests in this area? I mean, we have to understand the Chinese interests, which I'm sure USA will target. China has a base. It has built a deep water port in Siam naval base. Okay, it's in the Cameron Bay, and it faces the Kra Isthmus. And China also had a plan to put a canal through the Kra Canal to bypass the
Yeah, but
Malacca
it
Malacca
was
Strait.
Strait.
Yeah.
yeah, it was not
But
successful.
Thailand has not agreed to it. Thailand said we'll operate a land bridge. On other side, ships can come, transship into the a land bridge. We'll operate it, reload into ships and go. China has not agreed to it. But talks
Yeah,
are on, right? So there is this heavy strategic interest of China in Cambodia. So I don't think this is skipped. I mean, it's not. Why should USA disregard it? So that whole program will be in USA's sights. So my guess is that this is not going to end very easily. And the way USA is operating, like General Doshan very rightly pointed out, from Pakistan, Myanmar, here, Vietnam, Philippines, Japan, even North Korea. Okay, so the containment is pretty heavy, and don't forget, USA still considers India as its strategic partner to contain China and contained China in the Indo-Pacific, and we have shifted our influence also to the Pacific by sale of BrahMos and things like that, right? And many countries in East Asia and Southeast Asia want BrahMos. Out of the 15 countries which China has reported that want BrahMos, all these countries also here in this want BrahMos. So there is a definite anti-China view in this area. I wouldn't say anti-China, but they want defenses against China. So I think if something, this conflict at this point of time is at a nascent stage. Okay. But everything starts at a nascent stage. This is my view.
yeah. I mean, you're right, sir. The In fact, India had sent a lot of peacekeepers in Cambodia,
Cambodia.
and a number of Indian Army officers have a very hands-down experience of how the Cambodians have really fought that civil war. It was, I think, in the global history of warfare or world history of warfare, the kind of graves which came out from Cambodia, I mean, if you see, you will faint there. That is the kind of
No,
atrocities.
I've seen to one of those places a 4-story glass tower, full of skeletons, bones, heads. It's gory. Anyway,
So you're right. If the war goes into the boots on ground, then it will continue like Afghanistan or any of these small team operations, and then Cambodians will have an edge, and they will be supported by a direct ally, which is China, which is on their border. So therefore, their rate of sustenance will be much faster than Thailand. Thailand will have to depend on a long distance sustenance, which is likely to be difficult. You're right. One point which I missed out before I said about this whole thing is that, about the negotiations for ceasefire. While the Cambodians said that after the second day itself, they said that we must immediately call for a ceasefire. They agreed for a ceasefire, but Thailand refused it. Thailand, the Cambodians want a typically Pakistani kind of a ceasefire where there would be a third party intervention, whether it is the Chinese or the US. Whereas Thailand doesn't want a third party intervention. They are although agreeable to ASEAN intervention. So if there is an ASEAN body, or if there is a bilateral body overseen by ASEAN to sort out this even boundary problem, they are willing to go ahead with that. So this is the slight difference between the two. We can compare them.
yeah,
I don't say that they're fully as India Pakistan, but something like that. So if it is a comparison, then we also need to have that there is something called US China taking place here. because if this is happening, then it is also taking place here, and therefore maybe there are other disputes in the South China Sea which might get flared up in the next few months or days. That is something which we have to be careful about.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the second topic about weaponizing commodities. Now, the CCP has weaponized it. First, they said that they will not sell rare earths to the United States, and it is believed that that made the US climb down from their tariff rates, and also they also allowed 300,000 Chinese students to continue studying in the United States. This is what is talked about. And again, this is just a framework. It's not a final deal between US and China. But China, who exports a lot to India, has actually weaponized the commodities. It does not want to give rare earths to India. It doesn't want to give fertilizers to India. As a policy, how risky is weaponizing commodities? I'll start with General Ravi Shankar and then I'll come to General Dushyan Singh.
Look, weaponizing commodities is not a new thing. It's always been done.
Oh, Second World War, sir. Pearl Harbor.
Well, yeah. So weaponizing commodities is not new at all. The question is, why is China doing it at this point of time? They've not shut the door, they've not opened it, right? They want, and there is some talk on, and this whole thing started. You go back last year to Kazan, when Xi Jinping and Mr. Modi met, and we agreed to withdraw from Depsang area. We disengaged from that Depsang and that belt. So we are not in a face-off kind of a situation. But after that, nothing happened. Recently, after we went for that SEO meet and we agreed some flights recommencing and tourists recommencing, tourism, all that. Plus, there is talk of some trade easing, FDI up to 24% being allowed and all that is on the cards. And China is hoping to nudge us into all this, improve its trade with India through these, what shall I say, weaponization of rare earths, fertilizers, and things like that. After all, it's doing it because it needs a hedge against USA. It needs Indian markets. We all know China is in a bad shape, right? And our market is at floor level. When I say floor level, remember, we have restricted Chinese goods entry into India post 2020. Those restrictions have not been taken off. So the uptake for Chinese goods, if allowed, will be huge in India. The Chinese know it. It will give them a surge. It will give them a hedge, right? And they also know that India is, at this point of time, got into an FTA with UK. It's getting into an FTA with 4 other countries, plus Peru, Chile. We're good with Argentina. We're doing deals in South Africa and all that. So it makes economic sense for China to invest into India and mend its fences with India. But it's playing the hardball. So it's only to be expected. So what do we get out of China is the issue. They put their cards on the table. You have already put your cards on the table. How you want to deal with it is what it is. In fact, our foreign minister also said that we're not going to be in a hurry to do anything. But not only a foreign minister, even our finance minister said that. Plus, you see your trade deals with others. Mr. Goyal has said about with others is going on track. So the point is, it's a matter of how you handle this whole situation. And it also is a matter of how fast you can put your own rare earth magnets together. How fast you can put your rare earth resources together. How can you have a policy for your rare earths? Incidentally, this is not a knee-jerk reaction from China. We have stopped export of all rare earth minerals, right? Rare. When I say rare, I mean the raw material, ore. We've stopped it from export. Okay, and a lot of this used to go to China. So if you don't give them, they'll not give you rare earths. So there's a is what kind of a trade you want in rare earths, you have to see. Do you want to give them raw material low down in the chain and get rare earth magnets at the top end of the chain? Or you withstand the pain, get someone to invest into technology here and make your own magnets and go ahead, is something which the government as a policy and has to decide, and it has to put things on in place so that we are self-sufficient in these things which China is holding us to ransom. And there is scope because already Japan is interested in this. Japan already has a rare earth factory in place Visakhapatnam, Toitsu Rare Earths, right? So can we get the Japanese to help us in this? Because we have an adequate raw material of rare earths. We might not have dysprosium. Dysprosium is only in Myanmar. Okay. But you have samarium. Samarium cobalt, we are very good at the technology. Can you valorize it? Can you put it up the value chain? Can you fast track it? These are the issues which government of India has to take a call on. And also some rare earths have been discovered, or something is going on in Karbi Anglong, East Karbi Anglong, right? So how good that is, what does that have, that has not come out very clearly. And of course, I'll get another angle to this. Myanmar is critical because most of China's rare earth comes from Myanmar and Mongolia. Inner Mongolia is light rare earth elements. The heavy rare earth elements come from Myanmar. And there are issues in Myanmar regarding, environment, people getting sick, people getting cancer and all that. So this humanitarian corridor is actually aiming there. Don't think it is for Rakhine State and all that. No, it is directly aiming into Shan State to upset the rare earth apple cart for China. So in this case, well, you already carried out a cross-border thing into Myanmar. We did it just a few days back. Can you
July
extend the
13.
reach? Yeah. Can you extend the reach of that and help America along? Because in this kind of a game, there are no morals. Let's be very clear. And you upset the apple cart in Myanmar, dysprosium apple cart of China and Myanmar, then maybe things will happen. So you have to have a multi-pronged approach to handle this whole story of weaponization of, minerals.
General Dushyant, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, in fact, the flavor of Trump era is rare earths and minerals. So what is happening everywhere is that wherever there is a kind of a conflict which is growing up, there has to be some element of rare earth. India saw this coming, this problem of rare earths well before what we are discussing. In fact, I would link it to the Galwan period. After that, India realized that once we are going to put a curb on the trade with China. So I will first cover one important issue. I was listening to one of the experts on economy. Somebody asked him a question that look, we put a lot of curbs on China, that we will reduce the trade between India and China, but the trade has only grown. So his reply was that, well, while the trade may be just about the same level or marginally up, and also deficit is in favor of China, in the sense China exports more than it imports. But what we have done is very significantly, we are not importing finished goods. We are
It's all
importing
intermediaries.
importing components. So therefore, there is this whole thing about 2 years back, National Critical Mission for Minerals has been established. Now that was established about 2 years back. There are a number of initiatives which India is trying to take to ensure that we are not left out of the race. And as John Shankar highlighted, some key one of them are, for example, stockpiling. I think the stockpiling is taking place for quite some time. The second is the recycling, recycling. We are trying to extract as much of the chips, etc., from the waste which is being produced. And let me tell you, even in my house, if I have to take out the waste of electronic items, it's going to be huge. And if you look at your house itself, we get fed up of trying to take decision what to do with these electronic waste. So that is another big source of the new generation technology, chips, etc., supercomputers, superconductors, sorry, semiconductors, etc. So that is the second area where India is focusing in a big way. Then why are we so much friendly now with Brazil? Obviously, the reason is that Brazil is considered to be having one of the largest uh, source of rare earth. Peru. I will now give you an example. I'm trying to give substantiate what John Shankar is saying. There was suddenly in my office a few days back, uh, the somebody from Peru embassy came and he visited me. So I said, why? For us, Peru is like back of the beyond. So I said, what kind of an interest do you have with claws and suddenly, things like that. He said we want to develop more greater defense cooperation and things like that. So then I started googling around. I said, yeah, why suddenly nobody used to come from Latin America to India, so to a think tank like India, a warfare think tank like Claude. So therefore, I suddenly realized that these guys are also very good in minerals. So probably they are also now trying to exploit their resources for getting more benefits. So why not? We have to exploit multiple sources, and the Chinese have possibly got the wind of it. And they have also realized that we need to have this trade going on. So you find now there is a artificial thaw in the relationship between China and India, growing slowly. But as India is now so wary of China, that whatever steps India is going to take, it will be very very वो बोलते हैं ना, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक फूक के पीता है. Even a person who is burnt by the milk, he takes the lassi also with a lot of caution and care. So we are in that mode. But to say that we are going to be hampered by these weaponizations, I'm sorry. 1998, we were put under sanctions. Look what happened. We developed the engines for the missiles and the rockets on our own. I think let's welcome these. Like the Chinese say, there is nothing called weakness. There is only Wai Chi. And Wai Chi means challenge. That's all. If there is a threat, it is not the threat, but it's a challenge for us to go through that and get our things going. Yes, it will be used as a weapon. India has used a number of times our economic heft. Look at Maldives. Initially, what did we do? We just gave a signal that look at tourism. It was just one simple photograph which led to now Maldives now going gung ho with relationship between India and Maldives. So I think at times we have to do these instruments of war, or I would say non-kinetic warfare has to be done. It is part of the now international story. Gray zone is there to stay. Peacetime, wartime, or no war, no peacetime. So that's it. Let's take this weaponization as a reality and fight through it.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's take a few questions now, if you don't mind. First
Yeah.
question is from Kalyan Ram Ganti. This is for General Ravi Shankar. Can China really afford to lock horns with the US? If exports of China to US and West are stopped, China can't survive for 24 hours?
Look, it's like this. They've locked horns, okay? And China, we must understand, has a larger tolerance for pain because it's a unitary kind of a government. Communists will enforce laws, and they're already in a bad shape. So, how much more bad they can get? And they're weathering it. At this point of time, China is getting hit economically very badly. Okay, notwithstanding this interim arrangement they've come to on tariffs. So economically, China has been hit. Uh, right? Can they afford to lock horns? They've already afforded it. They're already there. Right? Okay. China is surviving it. But the long-term effort on China has to come out. You see, whatever is happening in China cannot be seen in isolation. Whatever is
Right.
happening economically in China has to be seen in the context of its own demographic decline. It has to be seen in the context of the mess it's politically in. It has to be seen in the context of the military, which is in a bad shape. Okay, it has also to be seen in the thing that China has taken a beating in the Iran-Israel war. One of the things where even in Pakistan, so China is taking a beating geopolitically, right? And it's not internally strong, nor is it externally strong. That is why a lot of weaknesses of China are now coming out. Okay, so this will happen. This will continue. Let's be very clear. And I don't see China coming out of this.
Next question, please. Shritik Kotari. So this is for you, General Dushan. Is world entering a paranormal mindset where we are seeing every conflict as a proxy or something bigger, phantom issue rather than treating it for what it is, a byproduct of too many wars?
I think there are 2-3 factors for the conflicts which are going on in the world, and the numbers are also varying. There are some data sets which say it is 113 conflicts, some data sets say 56 conflicts, and the more authentic one is 32 conflicts. Add Cambodia and Thailand into it, it becomes 33. Why is it happening? I think there are 2-3 reasons. First of all, there is a local dispute which is always there in these kind of conflicts. So nationalism has been on the rise across the board. Whether you take France, whether you take Spain, Italy, US also to some extent, and so is the case in the Asian continent, and Thailand and Cambodia are not you know they're not living in isolation. They are also, the main reason is nationalism. So nationalism is the second factor, which actually leads to a little hot headedness and clashes which start off as minor skirmishes. Thailand Cambodia conflict is not just a result of July 24th. This has been happening even in the past, right from 2011-12 onward. This conflict has been raging in small bits, and here and there people have been assuaging. In fact, twice they have gone to the International Court of Justice. It's a very long drawn conflict which has been going on. So nationalism has brought this conflict more into the fore. And the third thing is, whenever there is a instability, whenever there is a high risk area, you will find the bigger tigers, the bigger sharks coming in to take their pound of flesh. So, which are those bigger tiger than the sharks? Obviously, US, China, and earlier it was Russia also. You found the same pattern. They get involved into it, and they start looking for opportunities to ensure their own interests are forwarded. I think this, in nutshell, is the reason why so many conflicts are taking place.
Milburn wants to know, did the military-industrial complex have a hand in Biden when Biden was in power, and what Trump is going to do with this invisible enemy? General Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, look, that military-industrial complex has its hand. It's the deep state of USA. Okay, whether it's Trump administration or the Biden administration, it has a hand. As simple as that. It will not run away. It will do its trick, and it will keep driving USA to be expansion. I wouldn't say expansionist, out of area specialist. So let's live with it. And Trump can't do much about it. Let me also qualify it. Yeah.
Vishwanathan wants to know, for a canal to be built, what is the length and what is the elevation from MSL throughout the landmass? Can you bring out a podcast on this? We will definitely try and do that. Thank you so much. Next question, please. Hemant Kapoor wants to know, sir, out of contact for a quick analysis of Russia-Ukraine conflict, what's its future? General Dushan.
Well, Russia-Ukraine conflict, my take is that if Ukraine is no more going to be supported by the US, which doesn't seem to be, it's only the industrial capacity of US which is preventing them from doing so. Maybe the Europeans will kick in. If they kick in, this conflict will continue for furthermore time till Ukraine gives up. I don't think Putin is going to give up. He has the
Next
nuclear.
question. Yeah.
He has the nuclear. He has the nuclear assets with him, and no nuclear power tends to give up so easily.
Sugan Deis wants to know, do countries have the infrastructure to produce on scale like China and Russia?
They will, given the
Do they even
time.
have the skilled workers?
Yeah, more than that. This chap seems to be more a Chinese kind of a bot. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that brings us to a close of today's program. We'll be back Thursday and we'll be giving the topic about an hour or so before the program starts. Thank you once again, General Dushyant, General Ravi Shankar. This came
Thank
to
you.
you live from 3 different channels. Yes, sir. We would say something.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
We
you,
were
sir.
saying thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.